What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another video, and I want to start off today's video by saying, as always, thank you guys all so much for watching today's video. I was so excited to tell you guys the news that I finally was able to come across with this car. After 3.5 months, I said 3.5 months of not washing this car, I finally washed it. Now the bad news. That was the good news. Now the bad news is that after like literally a day or two after washing this car, it poured out of completely nowhere. Literally, the car is just more disgusting than it originally was before, after not even washing it again for 3.5 months. Now I have nothing new exciting to tell you guys about this car, with the exception of, like I said, I did wash it, but that's old news now and we're just making history at this point. But in today's video is kind of just something I just came up with out of the blue. I wasn't really expecting to make this video, but it was just something I was like, wow, this actually might be a good idea and we might make a little bit of a series out of this. Not sure yet, but I think that you guys might like it. In today's video, we're going to be talking about the top 3 things. We're not doing top 5 anymore, because top 5, it seems like, yeah, I've done like 1 or 2 videos about that. I want to change it up a little bit, so we're not just sticking so consistent with what we're doing before, but something similar in that realm. But today, we're going to be talking about top 3 exterior mods that you must have for this Mustang. Very similar to the previous videos that we made of the top 5 things you absolutely love about your Mustang, and also the top 5 things you absolutely hate about your Mustang. This is something that we're going to be doing very similar to those videos. Now, this is going to be a top 3 video on the other hand, but what we're going to be doing is we're going to be adding a bonus feature, as always, into this video as well. So if you do miss out on that bonus feature, you are missing out on valuable content. So please stick around to the very end of the video. But anywho, this is going to be something I want to continue doing. I absolutely love doing these top 3 videos, and I think you guys seem to love them too. Seems like I get a lot of positive reinforcement out of this, and it also gives me some content to give you guys, even if I don't have any mods to necessarily put on the car currently at the moment. But I do have some things that I have in mind that I want to come along the way that I would absolutely love to be able to add to the car. It's just going to take some time, especially since it's a holiday season. I got to be able to save up some money, so I think you guys could bear with me on that, and I think you guys are all on the same page as well. It's kind of hard during this time of season because everything's on sale, and you really want to get those parts, but you're like, man, well, I just spent almost $500 just on gifts for other people. That's not me, which I absolutely love doing, but it's like, man, I really want that part since it's on sale, but I don't have the money to do it right now. But anywho, we're not even gonna get into that. Furthermore, talking about that little series I was talking to you guys about earlier, this video is just necessarily talking about the top 3 exterior mods that you should get, that you must get, whatever you want to consider it as, for your Mustang. Now, this video is just gonna, like I said, necessarily gonna be talking about just the exterior mods, but in future videos, they'll carry over with top 3 interior mods for your car, top 3 performance mods for your car, top 3 suspension mods for your car, and so forth as we go. And I think you guys will really enjoy that little series that we got going on over here. Enough of me running my mouth as I usually do. So let's get into the top 3 exterior mods for this car. The first mod that we're gonna be talking about that I believe any Mustang owner should get for their car, especially if you have an S197 through an 05 through a 14 Mustang, is a front lip for this car. If you really look at the front end of this car when you get it from factory, it reminds you of somebody who, for example, a family member or a friend or an acquaintance who has a beard, and you're normally used to seeing them with a beard, and then they shave it and they just look completely naked and weird, and it's just like, is that you, maybe? So when you look at this car, on the other hand, when you get that from factory, it just looks like there's no beard on it. And then the moment you get this aggressive front lip, then it looks like they grew the beard back and it looks completely normal. And that's how I feel with this car, is I feel like even though it's not OEM at all, I definitely feel that when you put a front lip on the car, when you add all those little exterior accessories on here, like the rods and then a splitter and little scrape guards, as well as other little random things, I don't even know what the name of this thing is that I added on the car, just let's make it up, it's a front mud flap. There you go. So whenever you add those things to the car, it makes it look a lot more normal and it's true to yourself, that you really like. And it might not be everyone's taste necessarily, but if you seem to enjoy it, you seem to like it, it'll definitely make the front end look a lot more aggressive than it did from factory. Because in my opinion, I do not like the front end of this car at all when it came from factory. It just did not look aggressive at all, and it looked like even though this is a sports car, it didn't feel like a sports car. I feel like it needed a lot more than it truly did. And I'm so glad that when I added this front lip on the car, and I get a lot of questions about this online, it seems like, because I get a lot of DMs from people on Instagram, even the comment section, TikTok, whatever the case may be. And if you're not following my TikTok, I'll leave the link down in the description down below. Everyone asks, where'd you get your front lip? Where'd you get this? Where'd you get that? To answer everyone's question, this front lip is actually a Roush front lip that was painted white. If you've been around for me long enough, you know that these screws right here on the car were never meant to be there. And a lot of people might say, like, why weren't they not meant to be there? Because originally, I never had this front splitter, and I just had this white lip all the way around the car, and I thought it looked really good, because when you paint the front lip white, it really flows with all the body lines of the rest of the car to make it look like it pokes out a lot more, not just so flat and round in. And so when I ended up painting this this white, I originally had 3 screws all the way across the side, like the dress-up hardware, and I never had anything in the middle. And I ended up getting this thing off Amazon that was one of those fake carbon fiber samurai sword thing. I don't even know what the name of the thing is, but it's supposed to be a front lip for your car that you can mold around, cut up, and like stick it on there in the front of your bumper to look like you have like a front lip going for you. And I ended up adding that on the car, and it kept falling over, and it just didn't look good at all. I kept scraping on everything. It just looked like complete shit. I'll just be honest. You guys might like it. It might work well for your car, but for me personally, it did not work well at all, and I wanted to go with something that looked a lot more professional, a lot more sturdier, and looked a lot better, just in my opinion, that I was actually real carbon fiber if I was to go that route. But to continue going forward with that, I ended up adding these 2 screws in the front just because at the time I didn't have this front splitter, and I wanted to make sure that when I had those 2 screws, they didn't look uneven, because having 3 here, 3 across the side, and nothing in the middle just looked completely weird to me. And I was like, I don't really want to go that route. And so I actually had a use for them now when I ended up adding this splitter on the front end of the car that I didn't actually buy online. I ended up making this out of ABS plastic, and it was one of the best decisions that I could have made, because I think I spent overall maybe $124 in the whole piece overall, and it was definitely worth it, because usually if you find these things on Amazon or any other store, it's been a while since I can remember, but last remember I checked, I think it was like $300, $350, and it's like, no the hell no, I'm not paying that much for a piece of plastic. You're gonna be in the video. What's up?
I'm the only one at the shop right now.
Then go home.
No, I'm off at 5. I'm trying to make some money.
Well, I'm trying to make a video. I'll talk to you later.
Scott, you better put this in the fucking video.
I will.
Okay.
I ended up adding these scrape guards at the very bottom over here because I didn't want to scrape this plastic at the bottom. So I ended up adding these, and it kind of gave me the idea off of like a Challenger, one of those yellow scrape guards I believe that they use whenever they come in for shipping. But overall, I feel like adding a front lip to your car is one of the most important things that you should add to your car if you really want to make it look a lot more aggressive. And the second most important exterior mod that I personally feel that you should add to your car is a rear spoiler. I feel like a rear spoiler is almost necessary for this Mustang, and the reason I say that is because on the rear end of the car, when you don't have a wing on here, is very round, very just flat, and just there's nothing exciting about the rear end. And the moment you add any sort of spoiler, mine personally right here is a GT500 rear OEM spoiler that was wrapped black with a carbon fiber Gurney flap on the rear end, and it just feel like it gave a lot more character to the rear end of the car. And it doesn't just give character to the rear end of the car as well, it also gives character to the front end. And the reason I feel like it gives character to the front end, because if you have so much aggression in the front, you definitely have to flow it back in the rear as well. I don't know if every Mustang came like this from factory or not, but I know mine personally did. But it was coming with a rear wing from factory, and I feel like it was one of the most important things that Ford could have done to the rear end of the car without me having to drill into my trunk and drilling into the wrong spot and me screwing up like how I usually would. But the reason why I ended up doing it black though, on the other hand, if a lot of you guys might be questioning why you doing it like so choppy, because I felt like it flowed really well, not just with the spoiler, but the tinted window as well, because I like the black on black, but not just that as well. It flowed really well with the rear decklid and the taillights, and I felt it needed to be black. And one of the reasons why I feel like it's really important to be able to have a rear spoiler on your car that's aggressive depending on how your front end looks is because the fact that if your front end is really aggressive, like how mine was, I felt that my front end was way too aggressive at the time to be able to flow really well with the rear end, because I had this weird little military cut rear spoiler that came from factory that, don't get me wrong, it was nice that Ford was able to add a spoiler from factory if they don't already. And the reason I say that is because I didn't have to drill holes and screw up like how I usually do into the rear end of my car. But going forward with that, it was nice that I was able to add a spoiler that was like just like a whale tail on the rear end, where it's like wide enough to and long enough to where it covers the quarter panel, not just the quarter panel of the car, but also long enough to where it pokes out, where it's more like a ducktail. And that's one of my favorite things about this car was the spoiler, and I'm really glad I was able to get that. Now, that's one of the reasons why I personally feel that you should have a spoiler for your Mustang. Final mod that I'm gonna be talking about with you guys, I seem like I completely forgot, and I had to put down the camera for a second. I was like completely clueless of what the mod I was gonna tell you guys that you guys should add your car, and it's the very last one, so I couldn't leave you guys hanging. And I was like, damn, I really had to figure this out. So I was sitting here for a second, I'm like, fuck, what was it? Until I finally figured it out, and that is not adding, and I say not adding, a rear Shorty antenna on your car. And a couple of you guys seem to go crazy about it, like, oh, your radio's not gonna work, or it's not gonna this or that, it's not gonna be as good. Like, relax. Just think about it. If you're gonna cut your radio antenna to the same size as a Shorty antenna, it's literally gonna work the same way. Just because it doesn't have that little bit more on the top to look like an RC car doesn't mean it won't work. There's still an antenna here. It might not have a strong signal, just like the Shorty antenna won't, but the thing is though, is it's still gonna work in the same way as a Shorty antenna would. So why waste the $20, $25, how much ever it costs to go and get a radio antenna that's just about the same size, maybe if not a little bit smaller than this, just to go ahead and be able to cut the top off and take less than, not even kidding, 10 seconds to do, put a cap over it, and it looks just as as if you have a Shorty antenna. We're on our Bluetooth, we're on our aux, and if you are listening to the radio, you're still gonna have reception within the city or wherever you're at. And the reason I say that is because there's still an antenna right here. If there was no antenna, I can completely understand why your radio won't work, but considering that I ended up cutting this, there's proof that I did cut this. I'll even take the cap off to show you guys if it even comes off. That top end right there is completely cut. It's just a little bit of like a foamy, I don't even know what you want to consider that as, but it's like a foamy, like shoelace type material. But honestly, again, I've cut it. It seems to have no issues with me whatsoever. I even changed the radio in my car. And that goes to show that even with a radio change, plus cutting the antenna, it still seems to work. And I wish I could show you guys that it still does work, but the thing is though, is I can't because I'm really not trying to get copyrighted on this video. But if you trust me, you trust me. If you don't, you don't. I've made it this far into the video, now you guys get a little treat, and that is a bonus feature on this car that I'm gonna tell you guys about the top 3 things. Now we're gonna make it even the top 4 things that you should add to the exterior of this car. But before I get into that, I saw something right when I was doing this video, and I don't know what the hell I ran over, but I'm pretty sure that is not blood, but it looks like jelly. Oh, ugh, it's still wet. Okay, that's gross. I don't know what that is, but it literally splattered all over the car, and that's like absolutely disgusting. I don't know if I ran it over here or not, because I see a little bit of splatter marks. Maybe I ran over a barrier or something like that, but either way, again, like I told you guys earlier, I need to wash the car again. But if I want it to rain, just let me know. I'm like a weatherman over here, so if you really want it to rain, then I could definitely make that happen. I just gotta wash my car maybe once or twice a week, and we'll have a couple thunderstorms, maybe a tornado, but you never know. But anyways, going into the rear end of the car once more, the 4th bonus model I'm gonna be telling you guys about that I absolutely feel that you should add to the exterior of your Mustang is a diffuser. What goes well with not just the spoiler is the diffuser as well. And the reason I say you should add a diffuser to your car is because it really makes your rear end pop. It looks like mean. It looks like you actually have a race car, even though you don't. Depending on what mod you have, for me necessarily, I have a 3.7. I ain't racing no one. I ain't fast at all. I'll watch them yell to pass me probably, and a lot of you guys might be saying, that's bullshit. Okay, I know, I'm just exaggerating. I'm just saying this car is not really fast. It's quick, but it's not fast. It gets you up and going for a daily driver, so you can at least have a little bit of fun with it, even if you want to track it like how I wish I could do. But this is more of my street build. But going back to what we were talking about, in the rear end on this car, I absolutely feel a diffuser is a necessity, because like if you look at this car from factory, you definitely feel this car needs a rear diffuser. And the reason I say that is because it just looks like it just flows really well with it. You start looking at the exhaust here, and then you start looking at over like the little indent inside the bumper and how flat this bottom piece is over at the bottom end of the bumper. You just feel like I need to put something there. I don't know what it is. I don't know how I want to create it, but it definitely needs a diffuser. The same material, actually the same sheet that I use for the ABS plastic for the front splitter is the same material that is in the rear end of the car. And this stuff is strong. Like this thing is not going to break. And if it does break, you smack that bitch pretty hard. I'll be honest with you. Because that thing is, I've smacked that thing maybe once or twice. I'm like, oh, I for sure broke it. That thing takes it like a champ. Not just with the front, but flowing to the rear end as well. Then you could really have a nice flowing rear end as you would, again, with the spoiler, the diffuser, and also the front lip. So I want to say thank you guys for all watching today's video. It means a lot that a lot of you guys seem to stick around some of these videos, and I absolutely love when you guys DM me on Instagram, ask me questions, or even write in the comment section about what I have done to the car. Where'd you get this? Where'd you get that? I have no problem replying to any of you guys. Just stay positive and be kind. I'll more than likely for sure reply to you back. I'm usually replying quick, but if I don't, it's just because I didn't want to talk to you. Just kidding. I want to talk to you, just I haven't got to it. But overall, this car is a great platform if you want to add exterior mods to the car. When I first got this car, I thought to myself, I'm like, what the hell is a V6 Mustang? I seriously did not know what a V6 Mustang was. And then when I started adding stuff to the car, it was like, wow, there's a lot more you could do to this car than I realized. Like I thought you can add rims, maybe some headlights, a grille, a spoiler, that's it. Like I really didn't know. And that's kind of what it already looks like now. But if you're really going to detail with little things, where even if you own a Mustang in general, you'll know there's a big difference done to this car. Not just this car, but any Mustang you might see on the road. Like damn, there's a lot of things you can do to the exterior of this car. And there's a lot of things on this car that I didn't even add into this video that I would absolutely love to add in here. But we're only talking about top 3 mods that I personally feel that you should add to your car. Because like again, there's a lot of mods that are awesome about this car, like the front grille, the lower grills, the side marker lights, the rear side marker lights, tail lights, decklids, you name it. There's a lot of things and a lot of different opinions that people might have on this, but I can only go so far with adding 4 things for you guys. So again, I want to say thank you guys all so much for watching today's video. If you haven't already, please like, subscribe, and comment down below, and I'll see you guys in the next one with the next series video. And I'm thinking about possibly doing interior video next, so stay around with that series video. Again, thank you guys all so much for watching today's video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.